Hello, I'm Sean Lawson, and thanks for watching the Channel 9 Queensland Cup, where we check out all the happenings in the statewide rugby league competition. And speaking of statewide, it was the teams from outside of Brisbane who dominated round 5. And let's see what happened in round 5. As I said, here are the results. A sad tale there at the top for Port Morseby, thrashed by Redcliffe. East, a good win over Logan. Toowoomba, 24. Ipswich, though, a good performance by them to hold the premiers to just 18 points. Cairns, here we go. The country teams here defeated Gold Coast Burleigh. Surprise there, only 8 points scored by Burleigh. CQ, 26 good winners over South. Norse defeated Pine Rivers. Bit of a drama happening up at Pine Rivers at the moment. We'll talk about that later. And West 38 defeated Wynnum 10. And that brings us to our guest for today, and that's West coach Wayne Treleaven. And obviously things are pretty good at the moment, Wayne.
Yeah, we had a solid second half performance, Sean. I was pretty happy with it. We punished their mistakes every time they made one, so I'm happy at the moment.
We'll see some pictures on that later, but firstly, after five rounds or so, you've been around this competition for quite a few years now. How do you see it?
Oh, it's as strong as it was last year, if not a little bit stronger. I think a couple of sides might struggle a little bit, notably the Ipswich, although they've apparently got some...
from the Diggers Club,
which is a very good idea. And Port Morseby is still struggling to win away, so...
But the country teams seem to be coming on a bit now, don't they? So it's good.
Well, CQ are the surprise packets a little bit, so, I mean, they're playing well. They're winning away and at home, so it's a bonus for them. And
also Cairns. We'll have a look at some of their pictures later, but Cairns, a bit of a slow start, but now obviously they look like they've hit their straps as well.
Yeah, well, beating Gold Coast, who are a very good side, but again, it was an away game. I mean, it just depends on how the side travels away. That's the main thing these days.
We mentioned in the scores there that Pine Rivers, a bit of drama up there. Bob Lidner is moving on, and you know a bit about that too?
Oh, just from what I read in the paper this morning, they've put Johnny McGraw's come up from reserve or A grade to coach, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he's a brother's junior, so probably if anything, it might spur him on a little bit.
Yeah, good luck to Bobby too. He's had a bit of a rough trot over the last couple of years.
Oh, he has indeed. I mean, that won't hurt him going over there.
They also apparently just survived financially, and your club obviously has been through the trials and tribulations the last couple of years as well. But it's good to see them surviving so far. Oh,
it's a must at the clubs like Brothers and Wests and, I mean, Ipswich too, for a certain extent. I mean, we don't know how long this competition will survive. I mean, if we go and they go back to the BRL comp, who do the other teams play? That's what we've got to remember. So, I mean, if we can survive on paying our players whatever we pay them, I mean, so be it. So,
obviously, that depends on some of the crowds coming through the gate too. What's it like down at West these days? So it used to be great a couple of years ago when you won the premierships and stuff, I remember.
Well, yeah, exactly.
On the hill.
Yeah, 91, I think we started come good, and we were, after losing all those years, they started to come out of the woodwork, and then we started winning, and then they got used to it, and now they've stopped a little bit. But we play Saturday afternoons, and we're getting a fair crowd there. We're happy with it, actually. Just
on that, apparently CQ up at Brown Park, they're romping in. Can't get enough in the gates.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rocky's a pretty good football town, and I mean that's only going to be good for them too.
Okay, let's see some footy for a change. Here was some of the highlights from your match last weekend, and I think, as you said in the intro, that you were very impressed with the second half performance. Some good tries.
Yeah, well, this is the first try we scored. Brett Schultz who had an absolute big game. That was Tony Devlin going over. Yeah, that was. I think we only scored one try that half, and this is the second half now. But Craig Green just showed how he can play, and that's probably the best game he's played for us this year.
Because Wynnum, the week before, they beat the Premiers quite convincingly. So, you know, on form, you and Redcliffe must be the two form sides at the moment.
Well, I'd like to think that, but I mean, it just depends on how we travel away this weekend to Toowoomba.
Right.
I mean, they're hard to beat up there, but once again, I mean, I'm happy the way we're going at the moment.
Yeah, Toowoomba, as you say, it's a real test, and I suppose that's what you like to see. You know, you're in a good form and you're coming up against a good side. You wouldn't want to meet them any other time, would you?
Well, I mean, that's true too. I mean, they've lost a couple of players, quality players, and I don't think you can cover the loss of the Don Saunders and the Kyle Warrens and Mick Jenkins. I mean, they're quality players, but I mean, only time will tell. He's got a pretty good stock up there. Well,
how did you go in the off-season, by the way? Like, we saw the comings and goings earlier on in the year, but yeah, how do you think you fared?
We lost about 6 players, but I mean, we picked up Craig Green from East and Shane O'Flanagan from the Chargers. We've picked up the odd few, so I mean, some blokes leave and we get a few back, so it works.
Yeah, it was a quick kill on the weekend for Redcliffe. They certainly thrashed Port Morseby, and here are some highlights.
That's the fifth tackle, last one coming up. Gould probes straight forward, it's been touched. Play on, has he got it this time? No, play on, says the referee. Mustn't have been grounded. Yes, he has. The touch judge has decided and helped out the referee, staying in the in-goal area and advising the ref that, yes, it had been grounded by Redcliffe. First try to the Dolphins. A couple of options either side. Ackerman goes out of dummy half. He's already scored one try. Tries to bump out of a couple of other tackles. Number 2, Richard Ackerman, right beside the sticks this time. No doubt about that one. I thought there was some severe doubt over the first, but Richard Ackerman strolled out of dummy half, bumped away from a couple of defenders, kept going, stayed on his feet, got in beside the sticks.
Now he's just 10 metres out from the line. Another chance for Redcliffe. Robinson, Gould, and support out wide. And a try, easy as you like this time, with Bevan Canning going over to score. The third try for Redcliffe. And unfortunately, it's becoming one-way traffic.
The Dolphins now with a great chance to add more points. Little dummy in play. Ackerman has got 2. Has he got 3? Richard Ackerman, hat-trick from hooker. Doesn't happen very often, but when the defence is so paper thin in the middle of the ruck, all you've got to do is run. That's the 5th tackle. If they run it, there's still plenty of opportunities. Robinson out to Gould. Players in motion. Gould fires the long pass out to Hinchy. Hinchy on the fringe. Brushes out a 1-2. He's across. It's a game of touch football. The Dolphins are in the corner. They ran it on the 6th tackle. The tackles are not affected by the Vipers. Good passing, though, by the Dolphins to get it to the fringes. Hinchy has got that capability to offload. Exploited it nicely. He's got it to within 30 metres of the Vipers line. Robinson out there to Hinchy. Hinchy dummies on the inside, looks on the outside to Gould. Gould's put him away. Wilson it is. Craig Wilson walks across, strolls across.
Talking about the inexperience in the back line of the Vipers. They're not putting enough pressure on the Redcliffe defence.
Chris Essex now bumps out of another one. Fairly ordinary effort to tackle. Back up there to Adam Mogg. Adam Mogg tiptoes down the touchline. Comes back on the inside there. Singleton. Has he got enough pace? Anthony Singleton, I think he has. The Vipers seem to hold off.
Only about 5 metres out. Ackerman sending it back inside to Cleal. He's got strength. He'll get there. Cleal goes over. And Redcliffe score their first try of the second half. And that's just what the Vipers did not need. Redcliffe lead by 38 points to 0.
Redcliffe's defence intact, but gee, they look to be offside to me. Emile, who's been dangerous, pops the pass out to Owen. Owen turns it back on the inside to the big fellow. Up there goes Gatana. That's the 5th tackle. Gatana can't quite get there. Out of dummy half. Taram has made it. Taram has got across. Leonard Taram, the first try for the Vipers. Well deserved. They held it for 6. A big charging run preceding that by Jay Gatana. Quite easy to surge up the middle of that ruck. Peter Robinson to Hinchy. Hinchy with no support. Yes, he has. Back there to Adam Mogg. Mogg doesn't need the support. Goes straight through. Adam Mogg angles for the corner. He's made it. Adam Mogg gets across. Robinson out there to Denduck. There's Singleton, long pass straight out there. Straight into a yawning gap. He'll go all the way. Oh dear. What was Oliver John doing standing back on his try line?
Look, they'll learn from this. It's a daunting task, as you've already said, as they go right through him.
Yes, Hinchy is away. Essex rather in the over-the-top pass to Robinson, and Robinson will score underneath the goalpost.
Ackerman, who's had a strong game, dummy half, pops the pass up there to Ian Graham. He's had a little bit of field time, not much. Ian Graham coming back into the play slowly after that savage knee injury. And the ball has been stolen. Redcliffe surely will take the quick tap. Ackerman, could he get 4? Yes, he has! Richard Ackerman, his 4th try. What an outstanding performance for a hooker.
62 points to 4. A very, very impressive win, and a handy win as far as points for and against are concerned as well, should that come into import later in the season.
Some pretty poor defence there, wasn't there, Wayne? No other word for it.
No, well, it's exactly right. Very disappointing effort from Port Morseby there.
Speaking of them, though, they're staying down this week and they're playing Ipswich this weekend. So
yeah, I believe so. Obviously, it's probably cheaper for them to stay down and flying back up and flying back. Yeah.
Ipswich, they could have a chance there if they train well, they get used to conditions maybe, and because that's also part of their problem. They don't really know the environment down here. They're a bit of a culture shock for them. And so
probably like going to Las Vegas or something for us, but I think half a dozen of their good players can't leave the country either, so that's a big problem for them.
That's right, they can't get passports.
No.
You play them, you're off to the sunny climes of Port Moresby, what, in about June, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it's a bonus for us. We went up last year, so we know what to expect, but it's very hard to win up there with the humidity, and because I mean, my blokes couldn't even breathe hardly for the first half. I mean, you just can't get used to it. So
they're always really tough up there too. They're a completely different side, not only in names, of course, but also.
Yeah, well, they grow a second leg, and I mean, it's different up there too, because the crowd loves. I mean, they treat you like you're the Broncos or whatever.
Okay, as we said in the introduction, the country teams went very, very well last weekend, and we'll see the highlights after the break. Coming up, Capras versus South and Cairns against Burleigh Bears. As we said earlier, the form of the country teams was very, very good last weekend. Let's have a look at the highlights now between CQ and South.
The Capras had shown good away form, but were yet to impress in front of their home crowd. And 5'8" Greg Upkett wanted to change that. A clever switch from dummy half, Upkett in after just 5 minutes. The State League veteran was in again 15 minutes later, a simple double dummy opening up the South's defence. The Capras playmaker looked certain to score his third soon after. The ball coming loose on the line, Upkett straining a hamstring and leaving the field. That proved to be a turning point for the Magpies. They crossed soon afterwards, a simple backline movement to Kofi Kakauto in unopposed, the half-time score 8-6. The two teams went try for try in the second half, Brad Nevin extending the Capras lead, then Grant Benson reducing the deficit just 10 minutes later. State League newcomer Terry Benson put the Capras back in the box seat midway through the second period. He converted his try, making the score 20-12, but South weren't finished. The Magpies stringing together an amazing fifth tackle movement from deep within their own territory. The ball passing through numerous hands and stretching the width of the field before Matt McCosker touched down under the posts. South still with faint hope until replacement forward Brad Comiskey barged over to give the Capras a 26-18 victory.
Thanks, Jason Clover, who reported there. Good win by them, and they've got a bit of a legend there at 5'8", haven't they, the Greg Upkett?
Yeah, well, he's been around a while. He's about 32-year-old, but he's very skillful, good player. Actually,
you played against him, and also the likes of G. Miles and Wally Lewis back in the 80s, I think.
Yeah, about the mid-80s, yeah. That's a while ago.
OK. Our next set of highlights, Cairns versus Burleigh Bears. Here they come.
Preparations for Saturday night's game against the Gold Coast were less than perfect, with Southern Suburb star Richard Merger dropped from the side for failing to attend a Friday night training session. However, an early try to the Gold Coast merely sparked the Cairns team into action, the Cyclones refusing to take a backward step against the Channel 9 Cup newcomers. Peter Dangerfield bombed a certain four-pointer, losing the ball as he charged at the line. However, the speedy winger made amends a short time later, crossing after taking in a Nathan Butterworth offload close to the Gold Coast line. Kicking out on the full placed the Cairns team in a strong scoring position. Fullback Shannon Van Balen making no mistake with his kick after the Cyclones were awarded a penalty just out from the posts. The team taking a 6-point lead to the half-time break. Maintaining their tough defensive line, the Cyclones quickly added to their points tally through a long-range Nathan Butterworth penalty goal. A well-placed Robbie Schmidt-Grubber resulted in a 12-point lead to the Cyclones after the successful conversion. Scott Mans was held up over the line as the Cyclones continued their barrage. Schmidt unlucky not to be awarded a try after placing the ball at the bottom of the goalposts. However, despite the Cyclones registering a pleasing and much-needed victory, the match ended on a sour note for the home team, with Peter Dangerfield sent from the field for a deliberate use of the elbow. Dangerfield was later suspended for one match and fined $250. The Cyclones take on the Logan Scorpions in Brisbane this Friday night. Jason Sintome, Win News.
And thank you, Jason. Surprise there, Burleigh Bears, a strong team.
Very strong. Once again, probably the travel situation. So whether you can go up the day before or and come home straight after or whatever. So you just got to sort those sort of things out, I think.
Obviously, credit to the Cairns team as well.
Yeah, they're going to come good. I mean, they lost a few players too, and you just got to gel together.
Okay, we'll wrap up the whole show straight after the break. Now, and our next set of highlights: Toowoomba versus Ipswich.
Toowoomba went into the match wary of becoming Ipswich's first victim for the season. But the Clydesdales' fears seemed unfounded with just 3 minutes on the clock. Kane Spicer making the break, Peter Stenner standing in the tackle, the ball going loose and recovered, and Scott Schultz headed for the gap, standing up the defence to score in the corner. James Brown's long-range shot made it 6-0, then Ipswich penalised for not clearing the ruck. Brown adding another 2 to his tally. Ipswich hit back with a penalty of its own to trail by 8-2 at the break. Toowoomba's second half response was rapid. Skipper David Anderson dancing his way over the line. Scott Schiltz showed uncanny timing under the high ball after a disastrous outing against Wynnum. His teammates making the most of the territory gained. Halfback Peter Stenner backing up for 2 touches of the ball to run the rest of the way to score. Trailing by 18 points, the Jets put up the bomb. Runners going through in numbers. The lucky bounce giving Brendan Comerford the try. But Ipswich's resurgence was short-lived. A try to Russell Voll giving the Clydesdales a 24-6 victory. Peter O'Dempsey, WE News.
So an improved performance there by Ipswich. You play Toowoomba this week.
Yeah. Oh, Ipswich are going to get better every week. There's no doubt about that, especially with the new players in there. Yeah, they should be happy with that.
And a head-to-head that could create a bit of brotherly rivalry, I should say.
Yeah, Scott Schiltz and Brett Schiltz, my fullback, so yeah, it should be a good tussle. I don't think they've played against each other yet. So.
Okay. Obviously, the full round this weekend, Anzac weekend. You play Toowoomba, though, at 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. The boys... got to stay off the drink, I suppose, but it's a late time, isn't it? And it gets a bit chilly up there on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah, I've checked the weather. It's not too chilly yet, but it's just another incentive to go well up there, I suppose. But you got to do what you got to do.
That's right. Let's have a look at the rounds coming up this weekend. And tomorrow we have a match, Logan City and Cairns, and on Saturday, South versus East. A couple of good matches here.
Very good. See how Cairns travel, but Logan are coming good. So it might be a tough game down there for Cairns.
South East, who's your pick?
South East.
You're heading out to watch the game too, aren't you?
I'll probably go out and have a look, yeah.
Because you like the Tigers, don't you?
They're going all right at the moment, so I need to have a look at them.
One of your favourite teams, okay. On Sunday, more matches coming up. Wynnum CQ, another good clash here down at Cougarai. CQ might find it a bit tough down there, though. Wynnum might bounce back after losing last weekend.
Yeah, an incentive for Wynnum to do well, not lose 2 on the trot.
All right. North's Redcliffe, here's an interesting clash, because North's has started to find their straps, and Redcliffe obviously travelling well.
Yeah, they've got some good players, North, so they're always going to take a while to gel, so they're coming good at the right time. OK, then the other 3 matches, Ipswich, Port Morseby, Gold Coast and Pine Rivers and Toowoomba and West, your match. Some good clashes there, but obviously your whole focus this weekend is on your match against Toowoomba. Yeah, very much so. I think if we can, it's more or less a 4-point game for us. If we can win, it's a bonus to win away. So if we can win all our home games, pick up the odd couple away game wins. So I mean that's what we're looking forward to. Yeah, that's right, because you're just outside the top 5 or so. You're on 5 points here, and Redcliffe getting away a bit now, 8 points, and then East, Wynnum and Toowoomba, and so you need to win, don't you, to stay in touch? Very much so. I think it's going to be a hard game, but I think we can do the job. Thanks for coming in. Good luck on Sunday. Thank you, Sean. We'll see you before the season's out. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.